So today we are going over 4.2, which is about percents and decimals. So before we worked on how to write fractions as percents, today we're working on how to write decimals as percents. So to write a percent as a decimal, you remove the percent symbol and divide by 100. An easy way to divide by 100 means you move the decimal place 2 places to the left. So that looks like if I have 52%, I take my number, 52, move my decimal 2 places to the left, and I have 0.52 as my decimal. All you do is move it 2 places to the left. So for these, if you were to write this percent as a decimal, for 47, you would have 47 divided by 100, which means you move your decimal 2 places to the left, and we have 0.47. Next, if I have 5%, that means I'm going to have 5 divided by 100, move my decimal 2 places to the left. This creates an empty spot, so I'm going to fill that with a 0. Then my decimal is 0.05. It would not be 0.5, that would be 50%. 50% is pretty different than 5%. Next, if I have 120, I'm going to take 120 divided by 100, and that means I move the decimal 2 places to the left. It starts here after 0. We move it 1, 2, so my decimal is 1.20. You could write that as 1.2, because it doesn't matter if you add a bunch of zeros after the numbers or in front of these numbers, as long as your decimal is in the right spot with the 1 and the 2, it means the same thing. Up here, this 0 matters. The 0 in front, I can have a bunch of zeros in front of my decimal and a bunch of zeros after 5, but the order right here next to the decimal with the zeros, that matters. So that's writing a percent as a decimal. To write a decimal as a percent, essentially we do the opposite. So we move the decimal places 2 places to the right and then add a percent sign to go from a decimal to a percent. So it's the opposite. An example, if I start with 0.25, take that, I'm multiplying by 100. Up here we were dividing by 100. So you go decimal 2%, you multiply. So I move my decimal place 2 places to the right, and that is 25, and you stick a percent symbol on the end. So let's look at a couple examples. If I take the decimal and write it as a percent, I'm going to start with 0.92. I multiply by 100, which means I'm moving the decimal place 2 places to the right. To get a larger number, you move the decimal to the right. To get a smaller number, you move it to the left. Multiplying means we're going to a larger number. Dividing means you go to a smaller number. So I end with 92 and stick a percent symbol on that. Next, if I have 0.08 and I multiply by 100, I'm moving my decimal 2 places to the right, and that is 8%. If I do 2.1, I still move my decimal 2 places to the right from wherever it started. We're not starting with it on the end always, or always in the beginning of our number. So from wherever your decimal starts, 2 places to the right, you get your number, and stick a percent symbol on there. This one's interesting because it created an empty spot, so you just fill it with a 0 to hold that place. Now, here's another kind of example. If artist A makes a profit of 30% on their art, and artist B makes a profit of 0.35. Who makes the larger profit? To do this, we have to have them both in percents or both in decimals. So you can choose, do you want to convert 30 into a decimal, or do you want to convert 0.35 into a percent? You might be able to look at it and just know which one is larger, but to accurately compare, they need to be in the same format. So if I take 30% and convert this into a decimal, take my decimal from where it is, 2 spots to the left, and I get 0.3. So now I have 0.35 and 0.3. Both are decimals, and we can compare them now. So artist A, 0.3, artist B, 0.35, and 0.35 is larger, is greater than 0.3, so that means artist B makes a larger profit. So just remember that a percent to a decimal means you move it to the left, and a decimal to a percent, you move it to the right.